Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing our Premier League predictions. Obviously we did predictions at the start of the season, but let's go through it now. We're 7 games into the season, we've had a big chunk of the season played, and we're kind of understanding how teams are playing right now. So let's talk about how teams are playing, and let's go through our Premier League predictions again and see where we end up. I do think Spurs are still going to beat West Ham. They had that slip up the other day, but I think they'll still do it. Fulham started the season well, so I think they'll get a draw against Villa, you know. I think they will. I think they'll cause Villa a bit of a slip up after international break. Ipswich, Everton. I'm going to go 2-1 Ipswich, to be fair. I think Ipswich will get a win there. United and Brentford. I see us beating Brentford. Yeah, but Brentford have been in the goals recently, though, so I'm going to go 2-1. Newcastle had a really nice time against Brighton last year, so we'll go 4-1 there. Southampton versus Leicester. A really interesting one. And I think it's going to end the draw. I do think it's going to the draw. I think it's a really boring game. I think it's been more exciting though. I think Bournemouth will get a few goals past Arsenal, but Arsenal still get the win. And then Man City going to walk over Wolves. Wolves having a really stinking time of it right now. 2-1. I think Liverpool will still beat Chelsea. And then Forest to beat Palace. A game that I actually had Palace winning in my original predictions, but the way Forest have started the season, they're on a good streak right now. They're on a good streak and they're doing well. Can they do even well? I'm going to say then. 3-1. Brentford winning that game. Yep. And Brighton to beat Wolves. Wolves just not been able to get underway properly this season, have they whatsoever, and I think that will continue. So let's see these ads. Just on the way. Go away, please. Yeah, a big thrashing there from City. You know, Southampton, you know, they want to play with the ball, and City will not let them play with the ball. Everton to just get beat by Fulham. You know, just struggle. 2-2 Chelsea, Newcastle. Palace get a result against Tottenham. I still think it would happen, and then I think West Ham would get a result against United, and then I think what we're doing, Arsenal to get a result against Liverpool against Gameweek 10, and that's when we'll calculate it, see what it's looking like. I do think Newcastle will beat Arsenal as well. Bournemouth to get beat by City. Ipswich to beat Leicester. Liverpool to beat Brighton. Forest to beat West Ham. Southampton to beat Everton. Wolves to finally get a win. Against Palace there. Spurs to beat Villa. United and Chelsea to draw. And then Fulham to have a great game against Brentford and draw. That's table looking. United still in 12th. Still low down. Ipswich making ground on United, which is crazy to even say. Wolves still bottom of the table with a win on the board, but only 4 points. You know, 5 teams with only 1 win. That far into the season. It's going to be a slow and long season for a few teams. I've got hiccups now for some reason. Brentford to beat Bournemouth. They're on a good form right now. And then Palace to beat Fulham. I think they'll find a bit of form eventually. West Ham to draw with Everton. No, West Ham to beat Everton. What am I talking about? Wolves to beat Southampton, get another win under their belt. Brighton to actually get a draw against City, I reckon they can. And then Liverpool to beat Villa 2-0. Now you know what, Emery knows how to show up in these games. 1-1 in this game as well. United to get a nice result against Leicester, as we'd expect us to do. And Forest to beat Newcastle, because they had Newcastle's number all last year, and I think they'll have it this year as well. 2-1 for Spurs against Ipswich, and then a 3-3 in Chelsea-Arsenal. A very exciting game there. Maresca against his old club. I think we'll walk over his old club with a nice 5-1 victory there. Bournemouth to beat Brighton. Forest to finally end that. You know, are Forest still unbeaten at this point? No, I've had Forest lose the game. Okay. Villa and Crystal Palace. Villa to beat Palace, yeah. Everton, Brentford. And 2-2. Fulham to beat Wolves. City to walk over Spurs. Southampton to obviously get beat by Liverpool. Ipswich to give us a bit of a scare but not beat us. I will repeat, they are not beating us. Brighton to beat Southampton. Another south side game there. Brentford to beat Leicester. Palace to push a result over Newcastle, and then Forest to beat them there. Bournemouth and Wolves to draw 2-2. Arsenal continue slipping up but getting the goals that they need. Chelsea to beat Villa. United to beat Everton. Spurs to beat Fulham, and I can't believe City haven't lost a game still at this point. Losing there to Liverpool. Bournemouth against Spurs. I can be 2-1 Bournemouth, you know. Yeah, United to get beat. It can be 3-1. 3-1 again. And then 2-0 for Villa there against Brentford. Ooh, Everton Wolves. I got Everton to win it. And then Fulham to beat Brighton. And then Ipswich to beat Palace. Oh my god. West Ham to win that game. City to beat Forest. Newcastle to beat Liverpool. And then Southampton to be beat by Chelsea, which is by 1 goal. You know, not too much. Villa winning there. And we'll do another calculation after game week 15 here. Brentford against Newcastle, get result. Yeah, sure. You know, it's a bit of a scare there for them. And then I think 2-0 for Everton. I think, you know, you got a full wild card in there every now and then. I mean, that is a big wild card there. Ipswich and Bournemouth to draw. Leicester to edge one over on Brighton. And then United to beat Forest. Spurs to draw with Chelsea. And then West Ham to beat Wolves. We calculated 15 games in now. United have moved up to 9th. Come on! Moving up, making big improvements. While Arsenal and City are both on 36 points. Liverpool on 31. They've lost 4 games now. Maybe I'm doing Liverpool a bit dirty, but maybe I'm just a bit biased, guys. Maybe I'm just a bit biased. How do you feel about that? United have only lost 5 games at this point as well. 24 points on the board, only 4 points behind what is Champions League places right now. Wolves still in that relegation zone alongside Leicester and Southampton. Leicester and Southampton, 2 teams you expect to be down there. The rest can all be a jumble. The rest can all be a hoo-ha. We'll see who goes where, but United with Spurs there as well. We'll see how it is on game week 19, because Bournemouth are going to beat West Ham, and then Arsenal are going to beat Everton, and then Brighton are going to beat Palace. Chelsea to beat Brentford, yep. Liverpool to beat Fulham. City to beat United, as you can see there. 2-0 for Newcastle. Ooh, I think Villa will beat Forest. And then Southampton to get beat by Spurs. Wolves to then beat Ipswich and potentially get out of the relegation zone with that one. Villa to beat City. Brentford to draw with Forest. Palace to just narrowly get beat there. Everton to get beat. Fulham to win their game against Southampton. Ipswich to upset Newcastle a bit there. Leicester to get one against Wolves. United to beat Bournemouth, bit of revenge from last year. And then Spurs to just beat Liverpool. And then West Ham and Brighton draw. I think that's fair. 2-1 Bournemouth against Palace. Arsenal to beat Ipswich once again 2-1. Still goals in there. Brighton to beat Brentford, yeah, just about, and then another win for Chelsea against Fulham there. Liverpool to beat Leicester, and then City to beat Everton. Newcastle and Villa to draw 2-2, and a bit more. Actually, you know what? No, Newcastle to win that game. Forest to beat Spurs, big win there. Brennan Johnson might score, but it's going to be a win. And then 2-2 between United and Wolves. And then game week 19, big game week 19 now. Villa to beat Brighton. Brentford to draw with Arsenal, I reckon. No, ever since the 2-1, there we go. 2-0 for Palace against Southampton. Everton to get a result against Forest. Unexpected result after the way Forest have been playing. Ipswich to get beat by Chelsea, and a big win for Pep Guardiola's team there. Vardy getting 2 goals though, as he does. He likes to go against big teams. United against Newcastle, go 2-2, and then Spurs beating Wolves, and West Ham to get absolutely pummeled by Liverpool. We calculate the table and we see Arsenal now top on 48 points. Liverpool not far behind. Arsenal only losing 1 game so far at this point. United in 8th still with a positive goal difference finally, but Spurs have overtaken them again. 10 points now between United and the Champions League places. Leicester still down in the relegation spots alongside Wolves and Southampton. Southampton 6 points, not looking good whatsoever. Let's get on to game week 20. Game week 20 is going to open up with that Brighton beating Arsenal, and then Southampton getting a result at Brentford, showing some big shocks in the first game week here. Chelsea to beat them there. Bournemouth to beat Everton. Fulham to beat Ipswich. Villa to beat Leicester. I'm getting a lot of home wins here. Yeah, Liverpool to beat United, and then the home wins stop. And the home wins stop again because Forest beat Wolves, and then City continue the home wins and beat West Ham. Everton and Villa get held to a 0-0. The game starts to battle over Villa and start to take weight on them. Ipswich against Brighton. Ipswich get a result there, and then Leicester get a draw against Palace, whilst West Ham beat Fulham. A return fixture there that they won, but they're not going to get the double over Liverpool. Brentford to try and get a result against City, but City's been too good for them. And not 34th, tell you that now. 3-1 for Arsenal against Spurs there. And then Chelsea to beat Bournemouth 2-0, while United put another 3 past Southampton and get the double over them. Come on! But Newcastle to continue on their winning ways and beating Wolves. Newcastle to continue on their winning ways and beat Bournemouth. Arsenal to get a narrow win against Villa. And then United to end their woes against Brighton for 2-1 win, while West Ham and Palace draw. Leicester beating Fulham. Brentford holding Liverpool to a 0-0. Ipswich not scoring against City, and City only scoring twice. You think it'd be a Haaland big game, but it's not going to be a Haaland big game. Forest against Southampton. Now Forest continue on their winning ways. And Everton against Spurs. We'll see a 2-1 win for Spurs. And then 3-1 for Chelsea against Wolves. Fulham to get beat by United. I think that's going to happen there. And then 2-0 for Liverpool against Ipswich. Wolves to get beat by Arsenal. The ways are not looking good for them right now. 2-0 for Brighton against Everton. Southampton to push a draw against Newcastle. Bournemouth to beat Forest. Villa to beat West Ham in a big game there. And Crystal Palace against Brentford. Crystal Palace against Brentford. Ooh. Late in the season, we're 2-2. And then a 3-1 for there. And then a 4-0 victory for Spurs against Leicester. Wolves to get a big win in the Midlands there with 2-1 win over Villa. While Forest beat Brighton. United are going to put 4 past Palace, who are not playing well at all this season. 3-1 there for Newcastle, 2-2 for Everton and Leicester. In what is it really a must-win game. 2-2 for Liverpool and Bournemouth. Arsenal to beat City, finally get a big win against City, that is. And Ipswich to beat Southampton, where Brentford beat Spurs. Oh my god, a lot of upsets happening this week. And then an easy 3-1 win for Chelsea against West Ham. Southampton to get a 1-0 win against Bournemouth. They are going to get wins in there. A really exciting game, another exciting game, but another 4-2 for Arsenal there against Leicester. 1-0 for West Ham against Brentford, where Brighton get a result against Chelsea. And then Palace beat Everton. Villa beat Ipswich. Spurs and United draw 0-0. And then City beat Newcastle with an easy win there. And then Fulham beating Forest. Liverpool getting a nice easy win against Wolves. We'll do the next calculation in game week 28. Leicester getting a result against Brentford. Brentford falling off towards the end of the season. They're getting tired towards the end of the season. While Southampton and Brighton draw. Villa beating Chelsea in a big game there. And then 3-1 for Newcastle against Forest, ending their bad streak against them. City beating Liverpool 2-0, keeping a clean sheet in the process, while United beat Everton 2-0 in a double Manchester wins over Merseyside. Ipswich against Spurs. I think Spurs do win that game. And then Fulham to beat Crystal Palace. Arsenal versus West Ham, big 3-1 win there. And then 2-0 for Bournemouth against Wolves. Wolves really struggling towards the end of the season here. Brighton to beat Bournemouth. Forest to almost beat Arsenal. The slips start coming in. The slips will start coming in. 2-2 for there, and then 2-1 for Brentford against Everton with another good result there. Wolves clawing their way out of the relegation pit. Spurs beating City, and then West Ham and Leicester drawing 1-1. United beating Ipswich 2-0, and then a big win for, no, we're going to go with a big 7-0 win there, and then a 1-0 win for Liverpool against Newcastle. We're getting, a lot of calculations between these here and now. So big changes, some big changes coming in here. Arsenal dropping points. I reckon they'll drop points to us. The bias is there. 2-1 for Villa there. 2-0 for Wolves against Everton. Brighton to beat Fulham. Crystal Palace to get a result against Ipswich and claw themselves away. 2-1 for West Ham against Newcastle. Forest to get a big result against City. And then Liverpool to easily beat Southampton, while Chelsea a nice win over Leicester. Calculate game at 28. Arsenal still top of the table on 69 points. 6 points ahead of City now. City have lost 5 games at this point in the season. It's still not a lot. Liverpool not far behind now, but only 9 points behind. But United only 9 points behind them now as well. United only 6 points off them Champions League places now. You got to trust the process sometimes, people. Ipswich have now fell into that relegation zone on 21 points. Everton are in there and Southampton are in there, but don't worry, no one is breaking Derby's record of the worst season of all time. Forest in mid-table, there's a few mid-table fights going on, and we'll see how it goes on. We'll next update it in game week 33 with 5 games left to go at that point. Bournemouth to beat Brentford, Arsenal to continue their winning ways to beat Chelsea, Villa to beat Liverpool in a big game there. That puts Villa it puts them closer to Liverpool, but Chelsea slacking as well. Everton with a big win against West Ham, while Spurs get a big win and a big loss there. Ipswich get a big win against Forest, and Leicester do not get a big win against United because they get beat, and then City continue winning their ways, and it's the push is going on, the push is happening. That's all they got to do, and then 3-1 for Southampton against Wolves there as they continue their push up the table. Bournemouth beating Ipswich though, and pushing the Ipswich back down into the pits, while Brighton beat Villa. Forest beat United towards the end of the season. It's not a good result that whatsoever. Wolves push their way out. It's making the great escape now. It's time for the great escape. 3-1 there, 2-0 for Newcastle against Brentford, and 1-1 between Palace and Southampton. 2-0 for Liverpool against Everton. Villa to beat Forest. Brentford to draw with Chelsea. The slips happened there. Palace to beat Brighton. Big win that for them. 0-0. Everton and Arsenal held to a 0-0, where Liverpool beat Fulham, and Ipswich get a massive win over Wolves, a huge win in that relegation battle over Wolves, and Ipswich make an upset against Newcastle, so Leicester make an upset against Newcastle, and United get beat by City. Spurs beat Southampton, and West Ham then beat Bournemouth, and it's heating up because Fulham then get beat. Arsenal then beat Brentford. Brighton beat Leicester. Chelsea beat Ipswich. A lot of home wins this game week. Oh my god, the home wins aren't stopping, and they're not going to stop there either. Newcastle beat United losing 3 games towards the end of the season. It's not good whatsoever. Everton losing a game there. Actually no, I think Everton will draw that game towards the end of the season. I think that's a game that they can really get a result in. And then Wolves beating Spurs again towards the end of the season. It's these games that matter. It's these games that make the season. 2-0 for Brentford there against Brighton, having a good season. Palace escaping again. City continues to close down Arsenal, while Fulham and Chelsea draw. Ipswich get beat by Arsenal. Leicester are beaten by Liverpool, and United beat Wolves. A lot of relegation fights going on there. And then West Ham to beat Southampton. Let's calculate the table. Arsenal still top by 4 points now with 5 games to go. The title should be there. City are still chasing it down. Liverpool are out of the race now. 5 games to go, and they are 10 points behind. Whereas United are also 9 points off of the top 4. It looks unlikely. They're 6 points off getting that potential Champions League place, but it looks like it's over. It looks like it's over before it even started, really, doesn't it? Leicester, Everton and Southampton on the relegation zone. Southampton's season looks over as well. Still a few teams that could get relegated. I think Brentford are safe, but I think Palace, Wolves, Ipswich, Leicester and Everton are all in a relegation scrap now, and it's going to be a fight towards the end. We'll calculate it again in game week 35 when there's 3 games to go rest of the season. And then Bournemouth beating United. It's not a good end to the season for United whatsoever there, is it? Arsenal continue their winning ways, while Brighton beat West Ham and Chelsea beat Everton. Yeah, I think that's fair. 3-2 for Liverpool against Spurs there, and then City beating Villa. It's getting close. It's getting close. Ipswich getting beat. Brentford also getting beat by Forest. Southampton getting a win though. Can their great escape happen? Because then Wolves have beaten Leicester. Oh, and the great escape might be over. It's even started. Arsenal beat Bournemouth, and now they'll get to this point and it'll be like, it's close now. It is close to home. Brentford beating Man United towards the end of the season. This is not a good end for us. It's not a good end whatsoever for us. Chelsea drawing with Liverpool. Chelsea beating Liverpool, actually, I'll have. Crystal Palace beat Forest. Everton draw with Ipswich. Leicester beating. Now you know what? Leicester get beat by Southampton. City beat Wolves, and then West Ham beat Spurs. Let's calculate it. United drop further away now, 12 points away from getting that spot, and they are not going to get Champions League this season. It seems we might not even get Europa League. You know, the chase is still on for that. There's still a few teams in that chase. We've improved our goal difference, but still conceding way too many goals. Way too many goals. It looks like Liverpool are going to have the best clean sheet record this season. Leicester, Southampton, and now Everton are bottom of the table. Oh my God, they can still survive though. They can still get up to 32 points. Palace are still not. Palace are safe. Palace are safe. It's now down to Wolves, Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton, or Everton. Who will get relegated? It's all to fight for. All to fight for in these last 3 games now. As Bournemouth beat Villa, Fulham beat Everton. Everton look like they might be down and out. Ipswich get a win against Brentford. Liverpool beating Arsenal towards the end of the season there, and that's a big loss for Arsenal. That is a huge loss for Arsenal towards the end of the season. United beating West Ham, and then Newcastle beating Chelsea because they're continuing their push up the table. 3-1 for Forest against Leicester there, and then Southampton getting beat because City is still chasing that down, and Crystal Palace would have saved themselves. But can they still? Wolves getting a win there. Arsenal to beat Newcastle, and that might be the one that wins in the league. We'll have a look. We will have a look in a second how close it is. It's going to be real close going into the last day of the season. Villa beating Spurs, Brentford beating Fulham, Brighton beating Liverpool. You know, close game to the end of the season. Chelsea beating United, Palace and Wolves drawing in a game that one of them needed to win. Southampton beating them there. Leicester beating Ipswich. Oh my God, it's going to be tasty toward the end of the season. City beating Bournemouth, and then West Ham and Forest drawing. End of the season. There's 1 point in it. There's 1 point in it with 1 game to go. Can City do it? Both on 90 points. The bottom 4. Is anyone safe? Oh my God. Ipswich need to get a point on the last day, otherwise they might get relegated. You know, actually no, it's probably not. It probably is going to end up Leicester, Southampton and Everton as the relegated teams, unless Ipswich got a hammering on the last day of the season. Wolves and Crystal Palace managed to survive. That draw did them well, actually, didn't it? In the end, neither of them could afford to lose that game. United on 60 points. I think in the position that we're in now, I'll definitely take that. We'll see if we can get an extra point there at the end of the day. Bournemouth to beat Leicester and send them down and out. Fulham to beat City on the last day of the season, and a huge win there. Ipswich to beat West Ham on the last day of the season, and Liverpool to beat Crystal Palace. United to draw with Villa. Newcastle against Everton. We're going to go 3-1 Newcastle against Everton. Sending, 5-1 actually. Sending Everton down and out. Chelsea get beat on the last day of the season by Nottingham Forest, and then last day of the season, 0-0. Aaron Ramsdale keeping a clean sheet against his former employers, but Fulham doing a massive favour for Arsenal on the last day of the season. They almost bottled it, but Fulham save them, and then Wolves surviving. United finishing in 8th, a place higher than last year. That's what, the positives you can take. That's the positives you can take. A positive goal difference as well, which right now looks very positive for us. Ipswich surviving 6 points ahead of where they needed to be, 34 points. I'm sure they'll be happy with that. Crystal Palace on 36 and Wolves on 37. Not where they'd want to be coming into the start of the season, but it's where they are. It's where I've got them. Everton get relegated on 23 points. Sorry, Everton, 5 wins for the season. It's not going to be a good season for you. Leicester and Southampton both getting relegated on 7 wins and 7 draws and 24 losses and a lot of goals conceded. 80 goals conceded by Leicester there. Jesus. I don't think that's far off. I think the teams that are doing well now, a lot of the teams that are doing well now fall off. I think I maybe got West Ham a bit too low on there, and Forest maybe a bit higher than they should be. But I don't think it's necessarily unfair on teams where I've got them. I do think that top 4 is probably going to be the top 4 this season. Chelsea probably top 5 as well. That top 5 is probably bang on, to be honest. Guess we'll wait till the end of the season. We'll do this again in a couple of weeks on the next international break, and we'll do it again coming to January when we're halfway through the season. That is going to be the end of this video now, guys. If you like the video, please leave a like. Going to see more, subscribe to my channel every single day. Thank you for watching, guys, and hopefully I do catch you in the next video. Cheers.